I want to talk to you today about how video content will change in 2025. If you're new here, we are Two Times Creative. This is a YouTube channel dedicated to help you dominate content creation, while Darren and I do so also. So, Darren, it's a new year, adapt or die sort of mentality when it comes to content. Well, I think people sort of
Like
fear that. But this is how I think things will change in the video landscape, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts as well.
I'm curious to hear what you're going to present today. No, I'm just curious what you're going to come
Not a
to
lecture.
going to come to the table with, because it's very subjective in terms of how we think content will succeed and how it will change. But I'm keen. Please take it away, Michael.
The first thing I want to talk to you today about is pace. So
I feel like I just got walked off the stage there.
No, you didn't. Pace of video. So I think I want to know your thoughts, but I think we're all sick of the fast-paced editing of videos. And as you said, it's subjective, but I know I'm, for one, even the way I edit videos, I think sometimes we get a bit stuck in trying to maintain viewers' attention. So it becomes like 30 quick cuts in the span of 30 seconds. Like you're not actually showing the best footage. You're just doing as many cuts as possible because you think humans' brains are just going to that's how they're going to be entertained.
Yeah.
So I really think videos will start to slow down this year. I think storytelling and sort of less shots will become more of a not a trend, but more of something that people go towards to storytell and actually utilize in their videos.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I'm definitely guilty of, when I sit down to do an edit, my mind does think like, oh, is it staying on this scene for too long? So I'll make
it entertaining enough.
Like I'll make quick cuts purely to make it more entertaining, but maybe that's not it. Maybe, so you think we're gonna sort of sit and bathe in like maybe one shot for a bit longer and actually take in. Like it's kind of like a funny, like it's kind of like a funny thing. It's almost like appreciating content for what it is, rather than just like, hey, let's make this as quick as possible.
I think audience will start to resonate with that a lot more. Yeah, because I think we're scrolling on social media and there's a lot about how much sort of we consume and how shit our attention spans are. But if you start to think about it differently, where you can actually enjoy a slower paced video that actually teaches you something or entertains you or gives you value, but it's only one or two shots, and it's really simple and easy to consume, because that's where I'm sort of going with it. It's easier to consume, whereas quick cuts, fast pace, sometimes your brain doesn't want that.
Actually, like when you're saying that, it actually makes me think that watching content like that would stress you out.
Exactly, and that's why anxiety is such like people say social media gives them anxiety. Well, okay, let's strip it back. Why?
Boom, boom.
Yeah, it's not surprising.
Go. That's actually great. No, that's actually a great point.
God, good value at Two Times Creative.
Well, no, I think it's just a good thing to touch on, because it is like go, lights flashing, colorful sounds. That doesn't.
Well,
actually make
your
sense.
brain is so rotted from
rotted,
the quick cuts and the pace of videos that you can't even string together
Come
proper
on.
sentences.
It's true, but it actually makes a ton of sense. So if you slow down and the content you consume is slower and more, even like more wholesome,
impactful,
more
wholesome.
impactful, and like just sort of slower, in theory, you are then going to feel like less stressful and kind of more calm.
More calm. People will appreciate it more, and as a result, I think audiences will just be a more popular video that hits well. Hits more.
Better for mental health, for sure. I like that. Slower pace wins.
Yeah.
Well, that's literally what we've got written there. That's good.
Slower pace wins. I think it's just I think the irony of a fast paced video to maintain viewers' attention is sort of ironically, it has an opposite effect of that.
Might actually backfire, because it might
Yeah.
be like, damn, there's a lot going on.
Because
Here.
I scroll past videos if there's too much going on.
Yeah. Oh, it's like it goes back to the old style of editing. You know how early days of us editing, we're like, I'm gonna put a flash here, I'm gonna put a movement here.
For the sake of it.
It's like, how about we just let the content speak for itself and not try to pretty it up?
There's an old adage of, I think that's the right word. There's an old thing.
That's good. Yeah.
There's an old adage of, I'll run with it, of if you're using effects for the sake of effects, or you like quick what's the like lens flares, and you're covering footage, it's just you're actually just covering shit footage rather than backing yourself in that you've got good footage. You're just covering it.
Distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Second thing I want to talk to you about. So the first big thing is pace of content. I think that will slow down, and it's time to slow it down. And the second thing I want to talk to you about is personality over value. What do I mean by that? I think we're all a bit sick of. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Moving on.
No, I think
We'll leave that with you.
I think we're all a bit sick of experts. I think,
no, that's very true.
and that's the value part of when I say personality over value. I think there is quite literally an expert in every single niche, in every single field of everything we're consuming. It feels like everywhere you turn in content, there is someone trying to teach you something about something because they're an expert in it.
Yeah.
And I think we're becoming overwhelmed by it. I think you don't know what to believe. You don't know what's actually going to help you, and it's sort of shit for the people that are providing good value and good education, because there's just so much out there that you don't actually know the good from the bad. So I think content and video content will start to go a lot more, and it already is obviously, but it's going to be a lot more less reliant on value and more about just what Darren is teaching us, as opposed to he's an expert in that. It's just like, if you can show personality and who Darren is, then I'm going to trust you, as opposed to your course you're selling me, which it also is. I just think that's going to go to the next level because we're all sick of it.
I love that. It's like, less experts the better, because you're right, wherever you look there's someone shouting from the rooftop that they know exactly what's best for you. They're telling you what to do, and it makes sense that you feel overwhelmed by that, because you look at content, you look at something, and if you've got someone shouting this way of what to do, and then you don't do one of those things, you kind of just feel like, oh, I'm not doing everything I can to succeed or something, and then you get in your own head. I like the expert comment is such a good one, because it does feel like everyone's trying to be a know-it-all. Yeah. As funny as it sounds. And that's why content that warms to me and stuff that in my content, I almost like to admit faults, or like to admit you're not an expert in stuff, because we're not experts. You kind of just, you're figuring it out as you go, and then you are sharing those lessons and almost learning as you, learning on the go, and then sharing them. So I really like that one, actually.
And if, to go on that point, if you were to trust someone and buy their product or course, whatever they're selling, to be an expert in, how do you trust them? It's what you just said about being yourself and showing your authentic self, because then you build a connection to them, and then you see, oh, okay, what is this person talking about? I actually really warm to them, and then they'll go down the track of possibly buying off you or investing in you. But it only comes from showing who you are authentically.
Yeah, and look, this is a funny discussion, because it's kind of like, if you're buying off someone or you are wanting to trust a brand, they have to be knowledgeable. Like, they have to know what they're talking about to an extent. But I think a lot of it is in the wording, and a lot of it is like, you don't want to be shouted at.
Yeah.
A quick side note, I was on Threads the other day, and I had this, like, one of my 2025 things was like, hey, do I want to get fitter? And I commented to someone that said something about, it was like electrolytes or something, like something to make you hydrated or whatever. And I was just like, oh, that's someone that doesn't like work out much or anything. Is electrolytes good to have daily? And I just wanted to know if it was, this is just an example on the topic of experts. I just wanted to know if it was good for me. And then his first comment, like, nice enough guy to reply and whatever, interaction over Threads. But his first comment was like, if you don't work out often, you need to be working out like every second day or something. And I was just like, I don't need to be doing anything. Like, I was just after, like, thank you. My response was, thank you for answering my question. And that was it. Because I just find that, I know in his mind, he's trying to help. He's trying to like get to people, but it's like, I don't need to be doing it.
But you just summarize social media.
Yeah.
Like, you want to put something out there because you want help with something, but you're going to get flooded with these people that just tell you, and you could easily take that advice 300% and change your whole life.
And maybe that would be great for me. But to me, maybe I'm just sensitive with this stuff. But it's just like, I don't need to be. Like, you can easily just be like, like, I think thinking about working out would be great for your mental health. Maybe give that a whirl.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just how you talk to people and how you warm to people. But if that's his brand, he can do that.
Yeah. Anyway, good luck with your fitness journey.
It's the expert headline you presented with me.
No, it is. It's a good example of it, but I just think I just think that you need to think about how you're actually gonna, with your video content, how you're actually gonna portray personality over value. And I've got a bit of a tip that instead of like, if you've got something that you want to be an expert in, let's run with that. So you want to show that you're an expert in a certain field. Instead of talking directly to camera in sort of like a manufactured way, because people are becoming a bit aware that you're just doing stuff for the camera. Yeah. A tip that I've seen a lot of people do that is, if you're having a Zoom call with a client, or if you're naturally teaching something that you're an expert in, film that and upload that.
Yeah.
So sort of like what we're doing now, we're talking to each other about content. I'm not just telling you something about content because that might feel a bit manufactured. But if I was to be on a call with a client and we're having a really good discussion, if they're okay with it, of course, film yourself and upload that.
It's a great call. Yeah, because you're having a normal discussion that's not like, yes, we put the camera on here, but we're just actually discussing this. Like, we don't actually look at each other's run sheets sometimes. Like, we're trying to figure it out as we go, and then hopefully that provides an insight and value. So,
yeah,
great call.
Thank you. Third bit, return of cinematic. I think I'm not going to say iPhone content and lower quality. Is it lo-fi content? Is that what people
Lo-fi?
Yeah,
instead
I think
of hi-fi?
I don't know. I think that's a term. Anyway,
we're not experts.
I think because everyone can make videos and how much content there is online, it's absolutely flooded. I think we'll start to see people go back to what everyone else can't do. So the people that can create cinematic videos and really produce the higher quality videos, I think we'll start to see that start to elevate and come back in as a point of difference. I think we're all a bit sick of everyone, not everyone being able to make videos, because that's always going to be the case, but there needs to be a way to differentiate yourself. So I think you'll start to see that start to come back into our feeds a bit more.
How to stand out. So you sort of going against the grain in that old thing of that old adage, as you said before, of it's not the gear that matters. You're almost saying that it might be the gear that matters.
Well, I think everything comes in loops and goes around in circles. So I think, it might be, I think the gear will always matter, but I think it's also an element of, in my opinion, trust. Yeah, how to set yourself and trust, because I think anybody can make a viral video, and it might go back to my point before that everyone's a bit sick of everyone being an expert, but cinematic and professional cameras is something that not everyone can do.
That's a great point. You almost prove that you're knowledgeable or talented in the area rather than just like anyone. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. I've got a question for you.
Yes.
It can either be any of these three things we've just covered, or another thing about 2025 and video content. Is there something that you're looking forward to progressing towards, whether it is slower pace or something? Is there something that kind of like gets your juices flowing?
With our content?
With our content,
our approach?
It could be your personal. I know you wanted to work a bit more on your personal brand. God knows you need it. No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
Pace.
Sorry about that.
The pace one is big for me.
You like the pace one? Okay.
Yeah, I think you need to be able to connect to the person. As we know, you need to be able to connect to the person, not the brand. And a big part of that goes back to the overwhelm of fast-paced videos. So if you can connect to me, I uploaded a video the other day with one single shot. I told a story of one single shot of me working at my desk, and there's a story behind that. And that was a little challenge I set for myself of, can you tell a story and create a good content piece that connects with your audience with one single shot? So I think if you see one single shot of one person doing something in their natural habitat, is that just not far better in terms of connection than quick, fast-paced cuts of you quickly making a coffee with 17 different movements and actions?
Yeah.
So pace, and also behind-the-scenes content. Video content obviously relates to the behind-the-scenes of showcasing what we do, but that Insta360 that I own...
It's best friend.
Is my best friend in the whole entire world. I don't have many friends. No, it's coming with me on every shoot. That's a bit of a goal of mine.
That's good. No, yeah, you do love it. It talks about it a lot, but it's just because it's the type of content that's authentic. Like, you're not putting on, so to speak, you're literally just filming what you're doing on a day, on a shoot, and that's why it comes across as warm.
Yeah.
Relatable.
I think it's the perfect bit of content for someone like what we do, because you're trying to showcase what we're experts in. I don't like that word. What we excel in and what we do. But you also want to capture what we're like and what it's like to work with us, because that's how people are going to relate to us. So the Insta360 in our natural habitat of shoots is literally the ultimate perfect content.
It's great. So slower pace and behind the scenes is your answer.
That's two things I want to focus on.
Love it. Do you want to ask me?
Yeah, well, all right. Well, what are you going to focus on in 2025?
I'm glad you asked me that, but it's something that you have inspired me with. I reckon, I reckon the more shoots I'm on, the more I'm going to properly think about angles of where the camera is set up. Because I think sometimes you can just sort of... it depends what the shoot is, of course. If it's an interview and stuff, you can only get so creative. But even in saying that, I've seen some unique angles with interviews where it's kind of just like, it's super close up of just like their side profile. And anyway, it kind of does grab your attention. So I think to answer your question, it's going to be to think out my layout of the camera and the angles a bit more. Because I think that's a way you can stand out and set yourself apart as well.
Don't do things by the box. Oh, sorry. No, by the book, and don't just film things because you're used to how you film it and you're in the routine of
'Cause
filming
it's
it.
what you
So
always do.
challenge yourself a bit.
Yeah, and I think it's a great way of, and it's proven even between me and you. Sometimes you send me an updated video of 2 times creative, and it'll be a different angle, or it might not even be a different angle that you're aware of, but I will comment on the angle of it, and I'll be like, hey, it's dynamic.
Quick tip on that one. So if you were to film an interview and it's unconventional, it's a really tight side profile, and it might be on like how you meant to put it on 1/3 of the screen.
Yeah.
If you were to flip it and it looks uncomfortable, do you know like people do that on purpose? So if you're filming an interview about your subject talking about an awkward matter or it's something uncomfortable, if you were to film it in a really weird way, it's done that people do that on purpose to make you feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting and
That is
cool to think
interesting.
about?
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably pay more attention to it actually. Next time there's a story that's like, even if it's like if it's like a really dramatic sort of like a life tragedy, you'd think they might. Yeah, okay.
That's a perfect example that I was going to talk about. If someone's talking about a tragedy like a classic crime, murder sort of investigation, if that's filmed in a really weird way that makes you uncomfortable, have a think about whether that's actually done on purpose.
I like it.
Anyway, 2025, that's how we think video content will change. How do you think it will change?